Len McCluskey really needs no introduction. We're going to give him one anyway as General Secretary of Unite. And with Len as General Secretary, he's transformed Unite into a really fantastic campaigning union which wins victories for working people, stands up for others, isn't scared to confront vested powers, go into the so-called gig economy and take on people like Mike Ashley at Sports Direct, who I think reckons you owe him $1 billion plus now, because that's how much of his wealth has fallen since the campaign against him. But you show the effectiveness trade unions can have. Len, thank you.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and Betty. You make me very proud to be your General Secretary. I'm very humbled. You know, I've just been thinking that perhaps we should get Betty to address the next meeting of the PLP. She might be able to tell them what courage, principles and backbone is all about. Colleagues, Kevin was right at the beginning of the meeting by saying this particular fringe meeting has become almost the fringe meeting of the Labour Party, and I'm very proud that Unite is associated with the Daily Mirror. However, it would be hypocritical of me if I didn't register my disappointment with the manner in which the Daily Mirror has conducted itself during this leadership election campaign. You know, I've read this paper, Man and Boy. It's the first one I pick up every day, and it was heartbreaking for me to see the Mirror fall into the groupthink of the Westminster bubble sniping against Jeremy Corbyn. And I make one plea to my friends at the Mirror, this great newspaper: stop it. Stop it. You are not like the gutter press. You don't need to engage in that type of behaviour. Stay true to your principles, be decent and distinctive, and get behind the leader of our Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn. Conference, you know, these are extraordinary times we're going through. They really are. I've been a member of the Labour Party 45 years, and last year, after the first Labour leadership election that Jeremy won, I said it was the most extraordinary thing that I'd ever experienced, and it was. Unfortunately, Jeremy was then in a situation where most of the time, as he took over the leadership of the party, he was faced with bitter personal attacks, vicious attacks by the media, day in, day out. Not a day went by without he was vilified and attacked. And unfortunately, there were members within our own ranks who assisted in that undermining process. And of course, that is debilitating, and it is quite extraordinary that this man has rode through all of that to achieve an even greater victory. And that is because of people like you and the hundreds of thousands of people who've been attracted to our party again. Labour is now the largest political party in the whole of Europe. I mean, some of Jeremy's critics within our own party are puzzling me. Are they not happy that this has been achieved? They do not welcome in this incredible influx, especially lots of young people who've not engaged in politics before. Are they not pleased at that? Are they not proud at that? Do they have to kind of moan and groan about handfuls of so-called trots who are infiltrating? The truth of the matter is, that's what cuts at the very core of this fringe. How do we reconnect with people? Well, Jeremy Corbyn is reconnecting with people and is drawing people into our ranks. And we must continue to try to do that, to reach out to people. A number of the speakers have already made the points about the challenges that face us with Brexit. it's very evident that the current government actually don't know what this means. And that's a danger to us, because the only people who have at heart ordinary people and communities and working people is our movement. And so we need to be united. Now, I know that Jeremy has reached out, a hand of friendship, to those members of the PLP who have been concerned about his leadership. I'm very confident that the vast majority of them will come back, and we will unite as a party once again. Because let's face it, I mean, I've heard even senior Labour people talking about what a disaster, how we would get destroyed in an election. The truth of the matter is, until there was this mass hysteria and a rush by PLP members to abandon their roles and their jobs, until then the opinion polls were showing that we were level. In fact, a few of them were showing that we were ahead. And of course, the real election polls were showing that we kept winning 4 by-elections, 4 mayoral elections, even the local elections where people were lining up to attack Jeremy Corbyn because he was going to get defeated, Labour were going to get wiped out. We lost 18 council seats, and that was against the 2012 high watermark of Ed Miliband. So when it comes to actually taking the message out, ordinary people are still voting Labour. Of course they're confused. Every single day picking the newspapers up and saying, well, this guy's a nice man, but he can never be leader. Well, our task is to try and make certain that the policies that Jeremy and John MacDonald are trying to put forward has given a fair chance. You know, for the first time in 40 years, we have leaders of a political party who are challenging the economic dogma that has bestrode the globe, which is neoliberalism. That is an enormous task to offer something different, but already our party in these short months that Jeremy has been a leader has changed. We are now anti-austerity. Before then, if we went back prior to the 2015 election, which Unite fought as strong as any to win, people didn't know whether we were for or against austerity. There was a confused message. It is clear now that Labour opposes austerity and makes it clear that austerity is a political choice. It's not an economic necessity. It's not something that naturally has to happen in the economic cycle. It's a political choice. And instead of trying to cut and cut and cut, which you cannot cut your way out of recession, we need investment policies that invest in our communities. And I also reject this idea that the media have been spinning for a while that Jeremy Corbyn's got no policies. That's utter nonsense. The truth of the matter is, and I can tell you this firsthand, that Jeremy Corbyn has been the first Labour leader for a long time that has opened his doors to the trade unions to talk about an industrial strategy, to talk about real investment in real jobs, to challenge the low-pay economy, the zero-hour economy that the Tories, of course, are delighted with. The road that's taken us down the path of poverty. They tell us they've got created 2 million jobs. Well, I know lots of people who've got 2 and 3 and 4 of those jobs because, of course, they are low paid. There's no sustainable growth within our economy, and many economists know this. And so the time has come for us to examine the alternatives that are being put forward, to look at the type of investment that our nation is needed. None of you in this room can know of any single member of your family or friend who, when asked the question, do you want less public services, you don't know anyone who says yes to that. Everybody wants more and better public services. And the way to do that is to have a vibrant manufacturing base, creating sustainable growth in our economy so that we can invest in our people, in our welfare state, in the very things that we've fought for many, many years. That is the message that has got to go out from this conference. A plea to our Parliamentary Labour Party to reunite and start fighting around those policies, because, you know, they are absolutely critical. If you look, Kevin mentioned Sports Direct. What a fantastic victory that has been so far. Still more to do. But the idea that Mike Ashley has had to announce the ending of zero contracts is an enormous victory. And colleagues, Wetherspoons, who employ 24,000 workers, followed suit a week later. We're on a roll. We need to expose how damaging this type of flexible labour, as they like to call it, is. And it's our principles and our ideals that actually will carry the day once we get through the obstacle of the media, who are the mouthpiece of the establishment of the corporate elite. Of course they want to stop Jeremy Corbyn and John MacDonald. You know, the truth is, the reason they attack him and say, well, he's useless and he'll never ever win a general election, well, if that was true, if they really believed that, they'd want him to stay there. The fact is, they want to get rid of him, not because they think he can't win a general election. It's because they fear he can. And the policies that we need to battle on are the policies that are at the core of what we represent. You know, I was listening to Liz in that magnificent, articulate speech that she made about disabled people and what they have to go through, and how the society, the idea, marginalises people, makes people almost ashamed of being disabled, of being poor, of seeking something different. It's to destroy the welfare state. The welfare state is perhaps the highest ideal of a civilised society. And the Tories and their backers want to try and turn welfare into a dirty word. How dare they? How dare they? It was people like Betty and our grandparents and our mothers and fathers who fought for what we have. Our heritage, having defeated fascism at the end of the Second World War, they came back determined to build a land fit for heroes. They gave us the welfare state. They gave us the National Health Service. They gave us universal education. It is our heritage, and it's up to us to support our leaders and to fight to defend it. Thanks very much.
There's no shortage of corporate welfare, I've noticed, for big business and very rich individuals, and there are many voices on the mirror, but I think you'll like what I've written tomorrow, although I don't want to jinx it. Right,